Go ahead, Stan.
And welcome into PressBox Live. I'm Stan the Fan Charles with PressBox and PressBoxOnline.com. And folks, he's back again. And I'm going to talk to John Martin of the Maryland Lottery and Gaming in just a moment. But first, I got to tell you about the Costas Inn. Costas Inn, everybody knows, the place to go for steamed crabs, crab cakes, crab soup, and they've got great steaks there as well, and specials every weeknight at the Costas Inn. If you are still one of those that are uncomfortable going inside to a restaurant and dining right next to people and you prefer to bring it home, well, they've upped their game on the curbside end of things. You can go online to CostasInn.com. You can order your food online, pay for it online, and when you pick it up, you don't even have to get out of your car. And what's more, everything is packed immaculately. So if John Martin goes there and he's got regular Maryland crab soup, it's not going to spill over his wife's steak. So we're happy to say that. Costas Inn, 4100 North Point Boulevard, 410-477-1975. And again, the website, CostasInn.com. John Martin, welcome in again. We're becoming like old friends now.
Yeah, I thanks. And Stan, if I can pile on the Costas in there, great lottery retailers. They've been with us for many of our 50 years, and we enjoy Pete and the crew out there do a great job for us.
All right. Costas at one time was a big horse owner too, racehorse. And I asked him when I first got to know them back in the mid to late 90s, I said, you got to name a horse after me. And he ended up doing that. And didn't make any money for anybody, but he tried. Hey, John, the other day you and I were talking and you said next week we're going to have some numbers that are pretty interesting. And you did. You released the numbers for November on the sports wagering, and especially the last 9 days of the month, which were the days that sports betting went online legally. Those numbers are pretty astounding. $186 million, $84,496 was wagered online over 9 days. Let's unpack that and let our viewers know what that really means. Is that astoundingly good?
Well, it's astounding. I don't know if good or bad is the right determination yet. But if we roll it back all the way to the beginning of November, we saw a pretty strong first 3 weeks on the retail side. They were having a good, the 9 retail locations were having a pretty good month. And then, of course, we launched controlled demos on Monday, November 21st, and went live on the 23rd. And as we expected, the pendulum swung hard the other direction. So the retail, while they had a good month, it's too soon to tell where retail will eventually end up. We'll be bringing on more retail locations over the next several months. But the story is certainly mobile. And as I've said to other people, it was the perfect storm. When you look at the things that all came together those last 8 to 10 days of November, you had a extremely pent up demand from Marylanders who've been wanting. They voted 2 years ago, Stan. They've been waiting patiently, some not so patiently, for over a year.
Bet on their Ravens.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I understand that. So you had this pent-up demand. You had 7 sportsbook operators, some of the top names in the country, who were jockeying for position, for market share,
and spending a lot to promote the fact that it was going legal. Yeah.
It's been probably the worst kept secret, right? For the last 30 days or so, the investment they made in advertising certainly spilled over to promotional play, free play, and will continue to do so for the next several weeks, if not the next few months. And then finally, the third part of that I think may be overlooked is you had a sports calendar that was really unparalleled for the whole year. When you started with, on that Monday, the 21st, Monday Night Football, you had 4 NFL dates in those last few days. You had college football rivalry week. You had World Cup soccer, which is huge here in Maryland. And you had, of course, basketball and hockey. You bring all those things together. No, we're not surprised. Astounded might be a good word, but we pretty much figured that the promotional play was going to really carry the day.
is that kind of number, that's not sustainable, is it, John?
No, no.
At that level?
And it's not sustainable for a couple of reasons. First and foremost is eventually the cap that we've imposed in our regulations will kick in. Now, it does kick in the second full year, and we're 9 days in, so we have a little time yet. But that 20% cap means in calendar 24. So we have all of next year, but in calendar 24, all of the operators on the mobile side will be subject to a 20% cap on promotional spend, and it'll be predicated on their net for 23. So in this long format, and I appreciate the opportunity, let me slow that down and explain it to your fans so they know exactly what that means. And I'm not going to pick on any one of them. So it's the XYZ Sportsbook.
Okay.
If they continue along this promotional spend, where month after month they're investing more than what they're taking in and showing a negative return, which 6 of the 7 sports books did in November, they spent more than they took in. Well, that means that over time, you take that to its illogical conclusion for 12 months, they have no taxable revenue. They didn't make any money. So 20% of zero, trick question, is zero.
Yeah.
So if they continue along that, they will have no promotional dollars in 24 and everything will be taxable. Well, they're not going to want to do that.
Right.
So you think at some point, common sense kicks in, business sense kicks in, and somewhere in calendar 23, they're going to start pumping the brakes. Now, the question is, when? Because you look at where they are now, you've got football playoffs coming, you got Super Bowl, you got March Madness. There's probably little incentive them to start pumping the brakes until after March Madness. So
and
now you're in.
Baseball is historically not the largest bet on sport of all.
Exactly. But here's the catch-22 on that, Stan. The air comes out of the balloon in April, May, and June. You don't have as much handle. So if you wait until then and you cut back in your promotional spend, you're still not generating a lot of revenue. You still may be upside down because what you invested in January, February, and March, it may take you April, May, June, July, and August to get back to net. And then what happens? You're kicking off the NFL season again. So if I was one of the sportsbook operators, I'd start looking at it real long and hard for 23 and saying, well, wait a minute. At what point do we play this chess game to begin to back off on our promo spend in 23 so we have some taxable gain in 23 so we can apply our promo 20% cap to that number for 24. Now that may have been too much of a math problem for some folks, but I think these folks are really going to take a hard look at it. Is it going to stop in December? I don't think so.
Right.
I would be shocked if we saw it drop way down.
Right.
But that remains, the ball is in their court. We're just the regulator.
When does it start to hit home that people that are enticed by free money, like, oh, I get $100 free, they realize how quickly they can lose that money, and the consumer starts to, hopefully, if they're healthy, they just sort of step away and parcel out what they can afford to really bet.
Yeah, and I think that's an individual decision, right? And you hope people are playing responsibly. I love the programs that the NFL has and the American Gaming Association have. Have a plan. Have a plan. Work your plan. Keep it simple. Don't, budget your time, budget your dollars. And when you're done, you're done, and come back the next day. And I think, unfortunately, what we saw in a lot of instances, you had 7 sports books. There are a large number of the betting population probably subscribed to all 7 of them.
You really think they did?
Oh, I think in large numbers. Again, the free money was there for the taking. Now, at some point, do they say, well, all right, this one gave me a better return than that one, and over time, maybe they end up playing 2 or 3 of them.
Right.
I don't think they're going to maintain 7 because the offers are going to, go down, and they'll have their favorites, the ones they feel lucky with, if that be the case. But above all, we stress responsible gaming. There are plenty of resources available. and we hope that people come at it with a level head. But we do recognize for some percent of the population, and I understand the concerns. When I see people talk about what if scenarios, I understand that, and fortunately, we have a number of people in the industry who can help and provide resources when they're available.
John, you talked about what's happening online. How did that impact the bricks and mortar places that were in it? And they clearly expected it. That's why some of them are in the game of taking wagers online. So how did that impact the play live at places?
Well, again, I think we need to see a number of months play out, Stan, before we start to get too carried away with trends. But you're right. We know that the first 5 retail were all casinos, and 4 of those 5 have opted to get into the mobile space. So they kind of knew what they were getting into. Some of the other next tier retail locations, again, we have 9 of them up and running today. We still have a handful that have been found qualified by us and awarded licenses by SWARC that still haven't come forward and gotten started with their mobile, or I'm sorry, with their retail operations. So those may still come along. Plus, we had 6 new applicants on the October 21st deadline who submitted their paperwork in to get into the retail space. So the potential is there, as I said, for possibly anywhere of 15 to 20 retail. We know from other jurisdictions, Stan, that they're going to be dwarfed by the mobile market. It could be 85% to 15% when you look at, it could be even 90-10 in some jurisdictions that the money swings toward the mobile side. So people who are doing it, you hope they have a core business and they're driving that. I mean, the casinos will first, will tell you that they don't view their in-person sports wagering. It's an amenity they offer. But people go to casinos for much more than that, and I think some of the other operators are going to find it may be a tough go.
I didn't pay that close attention to how much a license costs and all that. Are there any places like a Costas Inn, a Dave and Buster's, that want to have it as just like they would want to have a lottery machine, that they want to have gaming as a convenience for their customers? Or is the cost of the license prohibitive for places like that?
For a great question, and we have seen some of those applicants. So for those types of operations, maybe they're in a part of the state that might be a little more remote and maybe not accessible to the casino properties or the off-track betting locations. So maybe they want to do it as an amenity and offer that they add. Maybe we should talk to Pete. Next time we're out there grabbing some crab cakes, we'll see what he has in mind.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
But yeah, the entry fee for that would be $25,000.
Okay.
For a small entity, $50,000 for a larger entity in that space. But the key there is that you do have to dance with a sports book operator who really knows the marketplace. Yep. Unlike a lottery machine, where the lottery will deliver a machine and is pretty much self-sustaining from day one.
Gotcha. That's a big difference. No
it's a big difference. So you need to partner with someone who more than likely has been in this industry and has experience maybe in other states, who can come in and provide the odds and the sportsbook operations and all the things that are required to be successful.
And that can't be your Uncle Louie, who knows the odds pretty well. It's got to be a
what? Back in the day, maybe Louis had it, but no, today it's a different business.
Hey, I know you had a SWARC meeting earlier today. Is there any news to come out of that might interest our viewers?
Yeah, absolutely. SWARC today went ahead and awarded licenses to 2 additional mobile and 1 additional facility. The 2 mobile are, again, names that will be familiar to most of your audience. One is Bally's and the Bally Bet product, and the other is WinBet. So these 2 entities now have been first qualified by the Maryland Lottery and Gaming Control Commission, now awarded licenses by SWARC today, which means now they move into that final phase, Stan, which is where we go through now the detail operational requirements. We do a controlled demonstration to make sure that again, wagers can be placed and processed correctly, and all the securities and protocols are in place. And that is something we'll coordinate with both Bally's and Wynn. I don't have dates yet in terms of when they'll go live. Certainly well before the Super Bowl, I would expect, but in terms of a specific, I don't know. Now, on the facility side, today the SWARC awarded a license to Long Shots in Hagerstown, if that name is familiar to some of your folks.
It is to me.
Long Shots was one of the originally named locations in the legislation. Their OTB location in Frederick was awarded a license, and they just came on board in November, right before the mobile wagering. They came on board with their operator, which is Betfred in terms of the marketplace. And then Long Shots has also gone through the process to get their mobile license, also with Betfred, up and running. And then this last effort today, which is a new facility for them in Hagerstown, they have yet to get a partner secured for that. So that is not going to be imminent. That's going to take Long Shots a little bit of time to get up and running in Hagerstown. But those three actions today were significant, because on the mobile side, that means we have the 7, we have 3 that were already awarded last month.
Right.
And now these 2, so we'll have 5 in the pipeline, plus we have 9 applicants that we now have to turn our attention to. So overall, we have the potential for 21 mobile licenses.
Is the finding the betting entity to work with, is that becoming a little like musical chairs, where all of a sudden everybody's got a dance partner and you're stuck without being able to find one for these retail location?
Absolutely is. And certainly some of those relationships, and I'll go back and state the obvious. I mean, some of the partnerships were inherent. You knew that MGM National Harbor was going to go with BetMGM.
That was a good bet. Yeah.
Right. Horseshoe Casino was with Caesar Sportsbook.
Right.
Maryland Live teamed up with FanDuel to operate their retail location last year. So they've extended that partnership in their mobile platform. Penn Entertainment up in Perryville is continuing their relationship now with Barstool Sports. So some of these were already inherently in place. But you're right, when you get to some of these additional entities that may be new to the market, they're now, musical chairs is a great example. They're looking at what's the right deal, if you will. PointsBet is a good example of that. PointsBet began working with the riverboat on the Potomac, right there on the Potomac River, right across from, right on the Virginia line into Maryland waters. And they've had their relationship now for retail, and they've extended that to mobile. So these things are all coming together, but eventually, somebody may be left without a dance partner.
And there's no provision that would allow somebody like BetMGM to get a second partner. That would not be allowed, would it?
Yeah, well, it's not likely at this point, because again, the window has closed on submitting applications. And while I don't look at all the applications, that's not my job. We have people who are far smarter than I am that look at that. I'm not aware that has happened in any of the applicants. They tend to be kind of clean and work with one entity.
Hey, we thank you for coming on today, John. Before I let you get away, is there anything folks that are watching this should know about going on in the lottery right now? Any big pots out there for me to cash in on?
Well, the Mega Millions is up over $400 million now. So
I only play them when they're over 600 million.
Well, keep an eye on that. But we do have some exciting news. Again, you can go to mdlottery.com for more information. But we are moving away from the traditional lottery numbered balls and drawing machines, and moving to a totally digital random number generator system, RNG. And that process will begin as early as next week. But people can get more information by going to mdlottery.com. The games don't change. Same games, same odds, same payouts. What's different is they will no longer be televised, but they will have animations of the video results on the website.
All right, that sounds great. And the Mega Millions is up over $400 million. right?
I believe 429.
And when is that drawing? Is that
Next one will be Friday, coming up.
Friday
Next
night?
Friday.
All right, I'm gonna get some tickets before then. Hey,
Good.
we thank you for coming on and explaining, helping us unpack these numbers. Pretty interesting story there.
Always able to do that, Stan. We'll talk again, I'm sure.
All right. And want to thank our friends at the Costas Inn, my buddies Nick and Pete, who do it all for you out there at CostasInn.com. Thanks, John Martin of the lottery.
Thank you,
Bye.
Stan.